The archivists of the collective had documented the rise and fall of over 10,000 civilizations across the galaxy. They took pride in their methodical approach, their precise predictions, their perfect understanding of how species evolved from primitive tool users to spacefaring societies, until they found Earth. Senior archivist Nexus watched the holographic display with all four of his optical organs, unable to process what the data was telling him. The readings from the third planet of this unremarkable yellow star defied every model the collective had built over 50,000 years. "Impossible," he whispered, his crystalline exoskeleton shifting colors from scholarly blue to confused purple. "Run the analysis again." His assistant, Vera, her form a swirling mass of bioluminescent particles, pulsed with confirmation. "This is the seventh analysis, Senior Archivist. The results remain consistent. The species-designated humans are developing technologies in a completely random pattern." The hologram showed Earth's civilizations scattered across different technological epochs simultaneously. Some regions had barely mastered industrial machinery, while others were taking their first steps into quantum computing. They burned fossil fuels while simultaneously developing fusion reactors. They fought with primitive projectile weapons while exploring particle physics. "It violates every principle of technological progression we've established," Nexus said, his colors shifting rapidly. "Species develop tools in a logical sequence. You master fire before metallurgy, basic machines before computers, fission before fusion. That's how it works. That's how it has always worked." "The humans appear to be guessing their way forward," Vera observed, her particles forming complex patterns of puzzlement. "They imagine possibilities before understanding the underlying principles. They build things that shouldn't work, yet somehow they make them work anyway." Nexus expanded the hologram, focusing on a particular human settlement they called Silicon Valley. The energy signatures were chaotic, innovations sprouting like wilderness rather than the carefully cultivated gardens of proper technological development. "Look at this," he gestured with a crystalline appendage. They created worldwide information networks before solving their energy crisis. They're developing artificial intelligence while still using internal combustion engines. It's like they're pulling random technologies out of a temporal lottery. "Perhaps we should initiate direct observation," Vera suggested, her form condensing with excitement. The collective's protocols usually forbid studying pre-unified species, but this deviation might warrant closer examination. Nexus considered the implications. In all his centuries as an archivist, he'd never encountered a species that didn't follow the established patterns. The humans' chaotic development should have led to their extinction dozens of times over. Instead, they seem to thrive on their own instability. "Prepare a stealth observation vessel," he decided, "but we must be cautious. If they're achieving these advances through random chance, they're even more unpredictable than our standard models suggest." Within days, the collective's most advanced stealth ship, the Eternal Archive, took up position in high Earth orbit. Its quantum camouflage made it completely undetectable to human technology. Or so they thought. Dr. Sarah Martinez stared at her quantum interference detector's readout in her private observatory in Chile. The pattern made no sense. A perfectly stable quantum field that shouldn't exist in nature, hovering exactly 36,000 kilometers above Earth's surface. "Well," she smiled, making a few adjustments to her equipment, "either I've discovered a completely new quantum phenomenon, or..." She looked up at the night sky. "We have visitors who think they're better at hiding than they actually are." In his observation chamber aboard the Eternal Archive, Nexus felt an unexpected shift in his crystalline structure, a sensation his species experienced when confronting something that challenged their fundamental understanding of reality. The humans had not only achieved quantum field detection centuries before they should have been capable of it, but they'd done so using equipment that by all rights shouldn't have worked at all. "Vera," he called out, his color shifting to the deep red of urgency, "I believe we may have made a serious miscalculation. Contact the collective immediately. The humans aren't just developing randomly. They're developing in ways that should be impossible. As Vera moved to send the message, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Somehow, their quantum camouflage was being disrupted by a focused beam of particles that, according to every principle the collective had established, shouldn't have been able to interact with their technology at all. In her observatory, Dr. Martinez watched her jury-rigged quantum disruptor with satisfaction. The physics said this was impossible, she mused. But sometimes you have to ignore what's impossible and just try anyway. Above her, the eternal archive flickered into visibility for a fraction of a second, long enough for every major observatory and satellite on Earth to record its presence. Humanity's first official contact with alien life was about to begin, and it would unfold in a way that no model, no prediction, and no observer could have possibly anticipated. The archivists were about to learn why assuming you understand humanity's limitations is the most dangerous mistake any species can make. The collective's emergency council had never convened so quickly. Nexus stood before the assembled intelligences, his crystalline form still flickering between anxiety purple and fascination gold as he delivered his report. Within 6 hours of our detection, humans had not only confirmed our existence, but began developing new technologies specifically to study us. He explained, projecting the data streams. They're not following any established patterns of technological response. They're not even trying to understand our technology. They're simply imagining what might work and then somehow making it function. The council chamber, a vast quantum space where representatives from across the galaxy communicated, filled with the equivalent of shocked murmurs. The librarian, oldest of the collective's leaders, manifested as a constellation of ancient stars. "Show us," the librarian commanded. The holographic display shifted to Earth's surface. Humans across the planet were responding to the brief glimpse of the eternal archive with unprecedented speed. Universities had redirected their quantum research. Military installations were adapting theoretical weapons designs into working prototypes. Private inventors were building detection devices in their garages using parts that shouldn't have worked together. They're not advancing along any rational technological path, Nexus continued. They're simultaneously pursuing hundreds of different approaches, most of which violate established physical principles. And the most disturbing part, some of them are working. Dr. Martinez's breakthrough had inspired others. In Japan, a teenager had modified a gaming console to detect quantum disturbances. A retired engineer in India had built a gravity wave detector from modified microwave parts. A high school science class in Brazil had accidentally created a functional tachyon detector while trying to prove their teacher wrong. "This defies all known laws of species development," declared the defense minister, a being of pure energy. "No civilization can advance this chaotically without destroying itself. Their own theories of physics say these devices shouldn't function." "That appears to be humanity's most dangerous trait," Vera interjected, her particle form displaying data patterns. "They don't stop when their theories say something is impossible. They simply try anyway, and through some process we cannot understand, they occasionally succeed." The Eternal Archive had retreated to the dark side of Earth's moon, its quantum camouflage recalibrated. But now they detected something even more alarming. Humans were beginning to broadcast messages into space, not in any standard galactic format, but in dozens of different theoretical communication methods they'd apparently invented on the spot. "They're trying to talk to us," Nexus explained, using communications technologies they created overnight. "Some of them are so primitive they shouldn't work at all. Others are so advanced they shouldn't be possible for centuries. But most disturbing of all," he paused, his crystal structure vibrating with concern, "some of them are using principles we've never even considered." In her observatory, Dr. Martinez had assembled an international team of scientists, engineers, and what she called creative thinkers. They worked around the clock, combining established physics with wild speculation, building devices that bridged the gap between what humanity knew and what they could imagine. The conventional models say we need another century of quantum mechanics research to achieve stable communication with advanced alien life. She told her team, smiling as their latest prototype hummed to life. But conventional models never accounted for human stubbornness and duct tape. Aboard the Eternal Archive, Nexus and Vera watched in fascination and growing concern as humanity's efforts intensified. Every failed attempt seemed to give them new ideas. Every theoretical dead end sparked multiple new approaches. They weren't advancing in a straight line. They were expanding in all directions simultaneously. "I've analyzed their historical records," Vera reported, her particles forming worry patterns. "This matches a recurring pattern in their development. When humans encounter a superior force or an impossible challenge, they don't respond with logical progression. They respond with what they call innovation, a chaotic process of imagination and trial and error that produces unpredictable results." And now, Nexus realized, his color shifting to the deep red of warning. They've discovered they're not alone in the universe. Their entire species has just been challenged with proof that advanced spacefaring civilization is possible. The implications hit the Council like a quantum shockwave. The collective had expected to study a primitive species. Instead, they had inadvertently motivated humanity's most powerful drive, the determination to achieve the impossible. "We must contain this," the defense minister declared. "If they continue advancing at this chaotic rate, using methods we cannot predict or understand." "With all respect," Nexus interrupted, his crystal form pulsing with the intensity of his conviction, "I don't believe we can contain them. Every attempt to limit their progress will just become another challenge for them to overcome. We didn't find a primitive species to study. We found humanity at the exact moment they needed proof that their wildest dreams were possible." In her observatory, Dr. Martinez made a breakthrough that would prove Nexus terrifyingly correct. Her team had discovered not just how to detect the alien ship's quantum camouflage, but how to replicate it using Earth's existing technology in ways that violated every principle of physics the collective held sacred. Humanity wasn't just making impossible leaps in development. They were about to show the galaxy why assuming something was impossible was the first step toward humans proving you wrong. The collective had made a critical error in their assessment of humanity, but they were about to make an even greater mistake. They decided to intervene. "Species containment protocol is now in effect," announced the defense minister to the Council. "We cannot allow them to continue developing technologies they don't fully understand. The risk to galactic stability is too great." Across Earth, crucial research facilities began experiencing mysterious equipment failures. Quantum experiments collapsed. Communication arrays suffered precise, targeted disruptions. The collective believed they were surgically preventing humanity's most dangerous advances. They didn't understand what they were actually doing, giving humanity a common enemy. "They're trying to slow us down." Dr. Martinez addressed the emergency Global Science Conference, her face displayed on screens to researchers worldwide. "But they've made a fundamental mistake. They've confirmed that not only are we on the right track, but we're making them nervous." The response was not what the collective expected. Instead of halting research, humanity adapted. Underground labs sprang up in basements and garages. Universities worldwide began sharing data through improvised networks. When conventional quantum communications were disrupted, researchers started using repurposed radio equipment in ways that shouldn't have worked. Aboard the Eternal Archive, Nexus watched with growing alarm. "They're not stopping," he reported to the Council. "They're not even slowing down. They're dispersing, adapting. Every time we shut down one approach, they create 3 new ones." In a converted warehouse in Lagos, a team of engineers discovered they could bypass quantum disruption by using modified satellite TV dishes. A group of students in Stockholm found they could shield their experiments from interference using repurposed microwave ovens. A retired physicist in Buenos Aires developed a detection system using principles that contradicted standard physical models. "Remarkable," Vera observed, her particle form displaying confused patterns. "They're not trying to overcome our interventions with superior technology. They're finding ways to achieve advanced results with primitive tools. It's like watching a species invent spaceflight using steam engines. The collective's next move was to attempt direct suppression of human communication networks. They deployed quantum field generators designed to disrupt electronic data transmission. It was a technique that had successfully contained dozens of emerging civilizations. But humans had spent centuries telling stories about alien invasions. They had imagined this scenario countless times in their fiction. They had already invented theoretical countermeasures before they even knew they would need them. They prepared for this, Nexus realized, his crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. Not through technology or science, but through imagination. They'd been solving these problems in their minds for generations. When the quantum disruption fields activated, humanity was ready. They didn't fight back with advanced technology. They fought back with creativity, adaptability, and solutions so primitive they bypassed the collective's sophisticated interventions entirely. Amateur radio operators worldwide formed a backup communication network. Libraries became information hubs, sharing data through paper records and human memory. When digital networks were disrupted, humans created analog solutions that the collective's quantum technology couldn't touch. You don't understand humans at all, do you? Dr. Martinez broadcast directly to the Eternal Archive, using a communication system cobbled together from old television parts and new theories of quantum mechanics. Every time you try to stop us, you give us new data about how your technology works. Every limitation you impose becomes a puzzle for us to solve. You're not containing us. You're teaching us. The collective's council watched in growing concern as their containment efforts not only failed but backfired spectacularly. Humanity wasn't developing along a linear path they could predict and control. They were expanding in all directions simultaneously, finding unexpected solutions, making impossible connections. We need to understand what we're dealing with, Nexus argued before the council. This isn't just random advancement. Their chaos has a pattern. Their impossible solutions work because they're not constrained by knowing what's impossible. In orbit, the Eternal Archive detected something that sent waves of alarm through its crew. Humans had begun launching satellites with quantum signatures similar to collective technology. Not exact copies, but human interpretations that somehow achieved similar results through entirely different means. They're not just advancing, Vera reported, her particle form trembling. They're innovating. Every solution they find isn't just a copy of our technology. It's a new approach we never considered. They're not climbing the technological ladder we expected. They're building their own ladder, using materials that shouldn't work, in ways we never imagined. The defense minister's next suggestion would prove to be the collective's fatal error. If we cannot contain their technology, we must demonstrate our superiority directly. Show them why species development must follow proper patterns. They didn't realize they were about to give humanity exactly what it needed. A chance to prove that impossibility was merely humanity's favorite kind of challenge. The collective's demonstration of power began with a display meant to humble humanity. The Eternal Archive decloaked fully, positioning itself above Earth's largest cities in succession, its quantum-shifted hull gleaming with technologies that should have been centuries beyond human comprehension. But they had fatally misunderstood human psychology. Instead of awe, they inspired determination. Instead of humility, they sparked innovation. "They're showing us everything," Dr. Martinez whispered, her instruments recording every detail of the alien vessel. Every frequency, every energy signature, every quantum fluctuation. They think they're demonstrating their superiority, but they're giving us the greatest gift possible, proof that our theories work. The Eternal Archive's display had an immediate effect, but not the one intended. Every scientific institution on Earth, from prestigious universities to amateur garage labs, began analyzing the data. Humanity's chaotic approach to problem-solving suddenly had a focus, and the results were beyond anything the collective had imagined possible. Within days, laboratories worldwide reported breakthroughs in quantum physics, gravitational manipulation, and energy generation. But it wasn't their speed that terrified the collective. It was their methodology. "They're not copying our technology," Nexus reported, his crystalline form shifting to frequencies never before recorded in his species. "They're reimagining it. They see our solutions and immediately think of 10 different ways to achieve the same results. Some more primitive, some we never conceived of." A team in Tokyo successfully created a gravity manipulation field using modified electromagnetic principles. Engineers in Brazil developed quantum communication systems based on biological principles rather than traditional physics. A collaboration between African universities produced energy generation methods that violated every rule the collective had established over millennia. This is unprecedented. Vera's particle form displayed patterns of extreme agitation. They're not advancing along any known technological path. They're creating new paths. Every solution they develop spawns multiple alternative approaches. It's like watching evolution occur at a technological level. The collective's next move proved even more disastrous. They attempted to demonstrate their weapons technology, creating precisely targeted atmospheric disturbances as a show of force. The humans responded not with fear, but with intense scientific curiosity. Dr. Martinez's team worked around the clock, not just analyzing the weapon's effects, but theorizing entirely new principles of energy manipulation. "Look at these patterns," she explained to her global colleagues. "They're using quantum fields to affect classical physics. But what if we reverse the approach? What if we use classical physics to manipulate quantum states?" The idea should have been impossible. The mathematics said it wouldn't work. But humans had long since learned that impossible was often just a limitation of current understanding. In orbit, Nexus detected energy signatures that his instruments insisted couldn't exist. Humans were generating quantum effects using technological approaches that violated every principle of physics the collective had established. But they worked. "How?" he demanded, his crystalline structure resonating with confusion. "How are they achieving quantum-level effects with primitive electromagnetic technology? How are they manipulating gravitational fields with biological systems? None of this should be possible." "I think I understand now," Vera responded, her particle form creating patterns that represented a fundamental shift in comprehension. "We assumed technological advancement had to follow logical patterns because that's how the universe works. But humans don't accept the universe's logic. They impose their own." The Council received Nexus's latest report with growing alarm. Humanity wasn't just advancing faster than predicted. They were advancing in ways that threatened the collective's fundamental understanding of science itself. "They're not bound by our rules," Nexus explained, "because they never accepted that rules were unbreakable. Every law of physics we discovered, they treat as a challenge. Every impossibility we accepted, they see as an opportunity. We thought we were containing a primitive species, but we were actually providing an advanced civilization with exactly the motivation they needed to surpass us." In her lab, Dr. Martinez and her global team achieved something that would forever change the galaxy's understanding of humanity. They successfully replicated the Eternal Archive's quantum drive technology, not by copying it, but by creating an entirely new approach that achieved the same results through means the collective had never imagined possible. "Ready to broadcast the designs worldwide," she announced to her colleagues. "Let's show our visitors why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our refusal to accept limitations." The collective was about to learn that in trying to demonstrate their superiority, they had instead revealed humanity's most devastating capability: the power to rewrite the rules of what was possible. The collective's High Council convened in a state of unprecedented crisis. Before them, holographic displays showed the impossible. Humanity wasn't just advancing, they were redefining what advancement meant. They've achieved in weeks what should have taken centuries. The defense minister's energy form pulsed with alarm. But more concerning is how they're doing it. They're not following any established principles of scientific development. Earth had become a crucible of innovation. Dr. Martinez's quantum drive alternative had sparked a cascade of breakthroughs, each more radical than the last. But instead of competing, human scientists were combining their diverse approaches, creating hybrid technologies that defied conventional understanding. Look at this, Nexus demonstrated to the Council, his crystalline form reflecting the chaos of the data. They've combined their primitive combustion engines with quantum field manipulation. They're using biological systems to control gravitational forces. They're achieving faster-than-light communication through methods that shouldn't even function. Every rule we established about technological progression, they're not just breaking them. They're proving them fundamentally wrong. The Eternal Archive's sensors detected something unprecedented. Humans had begun launching vessels into space. Not conventional rockets, but ships that combine multiple impossible technologies. Some used gravitational manipulation derived from modified Earth technologies. Others employed hybrid systems that merged primitive human engineering with their interpretation of collective principles. They're not afraid of failure, Vera observed, her particle form displaying patterns of revelation. Every failed experiment, every crashed prototype, every mistake. They learn from all of it. They're not just advancing through success. They're advancing through failure too. The Council watched as humanity's first interstellar vessel prepared for launch. It wasn't a copy of collective technology. It was something entirely new, a fusion of human ingenuity and impossible physics. Dr. Martinez stood before a global audience, explaining humanity's achievement. "We didn't try to replicate their technology exactly," she said, gesturing to the ship behind her. "We looked at what they achieved and asked ourselves, how would we do this differently? What if we combined our understanding of biology with quantum mechanics? What if we merged our primitive but proven technologies with these new principles? We didn't just want to catch up to them. We wanted to forge our own path to the stars." The ship's design violated dozens of collective principles about technological development. Its power systems combine nuclear fusion with quantum field manipulation in ways that should have been catastrophically unstable. Its navigation used biological computers interfaced with gravitational sensors. By all established rules, it should have been impossible. But it worked. "We must reevaluate everything." Nexus addressed the Council, his crystalline structure resonating with the weight of his words. "Our understanding of technological progress was based on the assumption that there was only one path forward, a logical, step-by-step advancement through established principles. Humanity has proven that assumption not just wrong, but dangerously limiting. As humanity's first starship broke free of Earth's gravity while using technologies that bridged the impossible gap between primitive and advanced science, the collective faced a truth that would reshape galactic civilization. They hadn't discovered a primitive species to study. They had awakened a force of nature that would revolutionize their understanding of what was possible. They're not just joining galactic civilization," Vera realized, watching Earth's transformation. "They're going to change it. Every species they encounter, every technology they discover, they won't just adapt to it. They'll reimagine it, combine it with their own ideas, create new possibilities we never considered." The Council reached a historic decision. The collective would not try to contain humanity. Instead, they would do something unprecedented. They would learn from them. "Send the message," the librarian commanded. "Tell them we wish to exchange knowledge. Not to teach them our ways, but to understand how they imagine the impossible into reality." Dr. Martinez received the collective's message with a smile. "Tell them we accept," she replied. "And ask them, are they ready to imagine what's possible when human creativity meets galactic knowledge? Because we've got some ideas they might find interesting." As the Eternal Archive's crew prepared for humanity's first official diplomatic contact, Nexus made a final entry in the collective's archives. "We thought we were studying them. We thought we could contain them. We thought we understood the rules of technological advancement. We were wrong on all counts. Humanity's greatest achievement isn't their technology. It's their ability to prove that impossibility is just another human challenge to overcome. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of ordered, predictable advancement was over. The era of human possibility had begun.